Hey, good afternoon, college coaches. This is Coach Anthony Williams, founder and CEO of Connected Athletics. We are a startup company based in Austin, Texas. We are focused on creating a technology platform that allows student athletes to connect with each other during the recruiting process, to build their network, to connect with college coaches as they go through the recruiting process, and more importantly, to connect and transition successfully from high school to college and then either into a career in their major or if they're blessed to play in the NFL. We are bringing another exciting prospect in the class of 21. This young man I've seen at many FBU camps over the years. Trenton Dickey is a class of 21 tight end, linebacker, and breaking news, he might be playing a little bit of defensive end and coming after quarterbacks this fall. I'll let him tell you more about that. He is now at Splendora High School. He's 6'4", 250, has a great GPA of 3.8, first team all-district. He's a National Honor Society member. And he is a great kid with a bright future. Trenton Dickey, how you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing great, Coach. How are you?
Man, thank you for coming on to the show and telling us more about your story. I mean, obviously, with the great GPA and your athleticism, your size, I think there'll be a lot of college coaches who will be interested in watching this podcast to learn more about you personally as a player on and off the field. Let's jump right in here. So, Trenton, tell us a little bit about, your academics. I mean, obviously very strong there. Tell us about the importance that you put on your academics.
I put a lot of emphasis on my academics because at the end of the day, if you're not doing the best in the classroom, you're not going to do the best on the field, and you're not going to be smart enough to comprehend like the defenses and the offenses at the next level. And you're just going to be that football kid who's, I'm really strong, really athletic, but I can't learn anything. Right. I can't be coachable.
Yeah. Well, tell us, what are some of your favorite subjects? What's driving that 3.8 GPA?
Oh, I love science, and I also love history. I'm a big history buff, and I find science fascinating.
Okay. And is there a favorite teacher at your old school or in your, in your academic environment that you'd like to shout out that's kind of kept your excitement about learning?
Mr. Catchings, Tom Catchings, he's been at Hardin ISD for a very long time. Mm-hmm. He's a very hard on you, but he is a great coach. And Mr. Mueller, he was our history teacher. He made learning fun. He wasn't just by textbooks guy. He was I'm going to lecture you about stuff. I'm going to let you understand it. I'm not going to just be like, hey, go copy stuff out of the book. He's very with that.
Yeah, that's good to hear when somebody makes learning fun. That's what it should be all about. Tell us, as you're about to complete your senior year, do you have an idea what you might major in college?
So it's always been a dream of mine to coach after football, and I've put a lot of thought into it, and I really want to do kinesiology whenever I go to college. Mm-hmm. But I've also had another dream of being a pediatrician. Okay. Whenever I get done with football and stuff. So I may have to go get my doctors.
Okay. Trenton, tell these college coaches the importance of balancing being a student athlete and taking care of your academics while still taking care of being at practice on time and being at meetings with your team. How do you balance that? And then how do you plan to continue that balance at the college level?
Well, balancing it is a very tough thing to do, especially if you have the mindset of going to college, because it only gets tougher to balance from there. At the high school level, you have a lot more free time than you do in being a college athlete. High school, you only have to practice 1 to 2 times a day, maybe a couple hours, and then whatever you want to do on the side. And then you have like a whole school day to do your schoolwork. And then whenever you get home, you literally have all the rest of the night. Well, in college, you don't get done. You wake up about 6 a.m. and you get done with the day about 9:30. Yeah. And that's the truth of it. And sometimes it's a lonely life being an athlete, but if that's the dream you want to do, you got to have the mindset. You got to have the drive.
Yeah, no, it sounds like you have a very good grasp of what life's going to be like as a student athlete in college. Let's jump into your video for some coaches that maybe haven't seen it. You play tight end, you play fullback, you play linebacker, and there's a new position you're going to be attacking quarterbacks this year. I'm going to bring up your video. Let's have you commentate to it for a few minutes and tell these coaches about some of the great plays you made last year as a junior.
Yes, sir.
All right, you seeing the screen okay?
Yes, sir.
All right.
So this play was right after a big turnover we just gave up. It was very difficult, and we had to I saw the play, read it, and just made the hit. That play that we just watched, it was a very I saw him come down, and it was just immediate in my mind I was going to have to hit him. This play right here, it's always been in my mind. Just keep pushing forward. You got to keep pushing forward. This play is the one that started the turnover. It was a very big play. Unfortunately, it was called back. There was no face mask on this, even though my helmet did get ripped off. It's the way of the game. This play was a little bit later in the game, garbage time, but we're not trying to give up any more big plays. This one was in the playoff game against Franklin, who was a very good team that year. It was just a little corner route, found the zone and got into it, and tried to avoid the defender. This one was against Warren. I had to come across the field and hook block that outside linebacker, which is not very easy to do, but I ended up getting it done. This one was a curl route, and I got there and opened up towards the sideline so I could catch the ball a lot more easier on that. This one, I got the handoff, saw a guy coming for my legs, jump cut out of the way, and went for it. This one's in the Wildcat, which is crazy enough.
I like it.
Just take the snap and get in the end zone. This one, this one was a little flat route they had me do. I was just breaking tackles, caught the ball out of the backfield, broke some tackles, tried to go for touchdown, but I got knocked out of bounds. This one's another little corner route, just found the zone where there wasn't, and, caught the ball, good grasp, fought for yardage. That's all you can do.
Trenton, I've seen your film many times, and I can tell you I'm impressed. You're a big guy. You play fullback, you play H-back, you play tight end, you play linebacker. You just tell me, and I'll let you tell the college coaches as you're moving to Splendora, what's their plan for you going into your senior season?
So at Splendora, we're going to be mostly relying on our running back. So I'm going to be more of a fullback, if you will, but I'm still going to be catching balls as a tight end. Like, we're not just purely going to rely on the run and stuff. We're going to throw it some, and that's what I'm going to be doing on offense. And defense, I'm getting to play a new position that I think is going to be very beneficial for me. I'm going to be playing defensive end. I've played linebacker all my life, but I think going to defensive end is going to be better because at linebacker I was always known as I wasn't slow, but I wasn't as fast as like the other linebackers. But I feel like I was just as athletic. So now you put me on the defensive line. I'm not slow on the defensive line anymore, but I'm just as athletic as a linebacker and just as strong because I'm a run-stopping linebacker. So I feel like that's going to be a very good fit for me, and that's where they need me the most. And I got to go there and perform my best, help the team out.
Talk about your mindset as you would make that adjustment from going from a 2-point stance, me as a former linebacker, not so linebacker, understand, to then going to a 3-point stance and just being after the quarterback.
It's a new thing. You can be a lot more aggressive as a defensive end. Like it's most of the time it's just you, the tackle, maybe the guard. I'm learning everything that goes with being a defensive end, the reads you got to make, hand placement, block shedding, all that. And what I feel like I'm going to be best at is explosiveness off the ball. I feel like I'm going to be very explosive off the ball. I feel like I can be an offense lineman's hands. And I just feel like it's going to be a very good fit for me, and it's going to be great for the team.
Well, you got ideal size for being a DN at 6'4", 250. I think you're going to do some big things with your size, and plus with your athletic ability and having, soft hands and being able to run and having a real great motor. I'm excited for you coming to see you play this fall at that DN position. Let's switch over a little bit to recruiting because you play so many positions and you've got the high GPA. Tell us what your recruiting experience has been, who you're hearing from, and if you're still open.
So the recruiting experience for me it's been great. It's been a fun ride. As stressful as it can be, it's really has been fun. So I've gotten offers from Culver Stockton, Sterling College, and South Western Assembly of God. SAGU is the most recent one, and that one is for D line. That was my first D line offer.
Yeah.
Um, I've I've talked to Southeastern Oklahoma. I feel like they're going to offer me after my senior season, just for that move to D lineman. I feel like they're going to like me a lot more there. And then Texas Tech really likes me. I have been in contact with them, and other than that, I've talked to coaches, but I'm just waiting on them to pull the trigger.
Okay. Because of your background and the different positions you play, are you kind of focusing your recruiting on schools that still use a fullback and a tight end and an H-back in the system, or are you just open to everybody?
I'm open to really anybody and everybody because I feel like I feel like I'm have the versatility to where I can play at a position that they want me to, whether it be linebacker, whether if they need a tight end, if they need a blocking tight end, if they need a fullback, if they need a defensive end, even if they need a DT, I can go play it. I feel like I feel like I'm athletic enough and versatile enough to go in there and be able to start.
Okay. We talked about it earlier, but tell these college coaches right now you're 6'4", 250. What do you think your height and weight will be by the time you enter whatever college you commit to?
I think I will be about 6'5", and depending on how I grow with that, I feel like I will be around 260. But I feel like I'm going to be more more of a muscly 260
Yeah.
than more of like like a fat, slow kind of 260.
Yeah, I would hope so. Yeah, you get into a college strength and conditioning program, they're definitely going to turn that baby
Oh
fat
yeah.
into muscle. But you've got a good frame. You can see that you can put on some good muscle mass and still stay very explosive. Um, Tell me, when it comes to recruiting, tell these college coaches why they should recruit you. What are you going to bring to their program?
Well, I feel like I'm a very team. I feel like I'm a very good team player. I mean, I put the team first above everyone. As you can see, I'm moving to a totally new position. I've only played once, and that was my freshman year. That wasn't even on varsity. So I'm completely moving to a new position. I feel like I'm a great presence in the locker room. I feel like I'm a very good leader, as well as an academic leader in the classroom. Take care of my business. You won't have to worry about me. And then on top of that, I feel like the versatility, and I'm very coachable. If you say, hey, you're not doing this right, do it this way, immediately I'm going to be like, you're right, I should probably do it this way.
Great. You talked about coachability, which is important. Another part that's important to college coaches is leadership. Tell these coaches how you define leadership and how you plan on leading your team as a senior this year.
I feel like leadership is not, people say a lot of what you're doing whenever nobody's looking. I feel like it's what you're doing whenever nobody's looking on top of doing like doing something on top of whenever everyone's looking.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see a lot of people, they may do great things whenever nobody's looking, but they're quiet.
Right.
They don't do anything whenever everyone's looking. They don't do well in the spotlight. They don't do well in like whenever people are around.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm a great presence in both realms. And then me being a leader, I've coached Pop Warner football. I was an assistant coach, and just being around like kids like that, I feel like I was, being able to lead them is very great. And then on top of in high school, just like being that guy that brings the energy during practice, brings the energy during the games, make sure everyone's right in the classroom, help them out whenever they need help. Just doing that. And I feel like I'm going to be able to do this year, being around people, people I've played with all my life.
Okay. College coaches always tell me that they want players that are passionate about playing the game. Tell these coaches about your passion for the game of football and your competitive spirit. How would you describe it?
Well, my passion from the game, I've been playing since I was about 4 years old, and the passion has never died in me. Some people get burnt out. I don't want to play football anymore. I don't like the coaches, but I feel like the passion for football has always like burned really deep inside me. And, I get on that football field and it's like a whole different person. Like, in life, I'm a very, chill guy, just I chill. And then I feel like on the football field, I'm just, I'm high, it's like a different realm for me. And it's fun. Like football is probably the most fun sport on planet.
I agree.
And anyone can disagree with me on that, and I will give you 50 reasons why it's not, because football is, in my opinion, the funnest sport on earth. And anything to do it at the next level, being great in the classroom, being a leader, I'll do it.
Okay, I like it. Hey, let's switch over to some of the things about you personally. Tell us about your family dynamics. What do your mom and dad do? Are you the youngest, the oldest child? Do you have siblings? Give us a little bit of background about your family.
So I have two other siblings. I'm the oldest. I have my youngest sister is named Kylie, and my middle sister is named Krissa. They're both in a sports. Krissa plays volleyball, and Kylie plays softball. My dad is a retired veteran. He serves 17 years in the United States Marine Corps, fought in Iraq and Desert Storm.
Mm-hmm.
And right now he's a retired disabled veteran. And he just sits at the house, builds cars. Mm-hmm. He does what he loves. And my mom works in human resources in a company, a steel company in Houston. It's called American Alloy Steel. Mm-hmm. And my family, I love my family. They're just great. They're just all around great. My dad's been coaching me since I was 6, 7, and he even got to coach me 1 year at varsity, my first year at varsity. Mm-hmm. And they just stuck with me all the way. And even if they have to sacrifice some stuff, I really do appreciate them, because they'll do it without hesitation.
Well, from one military brat to another, my father, 30 years in the Army, I want to say to your father, Mr. Dickey, thank you for your service, and thank you for everything you've done for our country. So I definitely want to recognize him as a disabled veteran. So I appreciate you letting us know about that. Hey, as we finish up here, more about you personally, tell us about a time in your life when you had to overcome some type of adversity, whether it be personal or dealing with football or sports.
So I feel like on this road to college or maybe even NFL football, adversity hits in weird ways. I've never been, knock on wood, but I've never been hit with injuries or anything like that is just tarnished my career or anything like that, and had to bounce back from that. But like I said, being on this road is very lonely. Other high school athletes go to parties, they have fun with their high school. I mean, I have fun with high school, but I don't go, whenever people are going to party and stuff, I'm, doing schoolwork or learning plays or, and that adversity, over time can just get mentally consuming, but you just got pushed through that. And, getting your first offer is probably, waiting on that is probably the scariest thing, because you're probably like, man, am I going to get that offer? And because my thing is, I want to help my parents. I don't want to be in debt for 40 years just because I went to college to better myself. Mm-hmm. If I'm going to go to college, I want to be, because they want me to come to their school.
Right.
I just don't want to show up and say, hey, what's up? I'm gonna give you this money. I'll pay it back to you sometime.
Right.
But it gets stressful after a while. I didn't get my first offer until this year. Mm-hmm. So and you see other people like on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and all that posting about offers, and you're like, man, I really want this offer. And I'm telling you, after I got my first one, it's like a whole weight has been lifted off my shoulders.
Well, you probably have seen, Trenton, that everybody's journey is different, and everybody's recruiting journey is different. And some kids get lots of offers when they're freshman and sophomore. The bottom line is, you have to go through 4 years of school, and so getting them your senior year are usually the coaches who take their time and really want to see how you develop and what your maturity level is like, and really get a good idea of what you're going to bring to the program. So I'm glad you got that first offer, and I get a feeling you're going to see a lot more. Hey, as we finish up here, tell these college coaches, what is your best learning style? Do you consider yourself a visual, verbal, or physical learner?
I feel like I'm a physical learner. Like just for instance, like a physics problem. It's basically math.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're going to show me like an equation, don't just, hey, this equals this times this. I'm not going to remember that. Show me it.
Mm-hmm.
Like let me see it. Let me see what you have to do. Like one thing like Mr. Catchings always did very well is he had us to do steps to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you remember the steps, it gets really easy because it's all it is okay, divide this and then and then bring it down and then
Right.
multiply it by this and then on and on.
Right.
So I feel like I'm a very physical learner,
Mm-hmm.
especially like in football. If you tell me, if you show me what I'm supposed to do, if you're like, hey, see, you're gonna run out here, right, and then you're gonna hook him, and then he's probably gonna be standing around here. You're gonna have to flip your hips and hook him. I mean, if you show me that and I see that on like whether it be paper or something like that, I'm like, okay, I understand this a little bit more, and I can find where he's at.
Okay, makes sense. Hey, final question, then we'll close up here. Tell us what you do to give back to your community. Are you involved with your church, nonprofit, or what do you and your family do to give back?
So I've coached for 2 years at our little league field that we have up here at Splendora, and my dad's very into that. He's actually starting his own, and since I'm close to home now, I'm going to Splendora. It'll be a lot easier for me to go up there and coach because coaching is one of those things I have a passion for, and I feel like I have the knowledge for. Just talking to college coaches, learning technique, all my years in high school, your varsity years, you learn so much, and I feel like I can really have an impact on these kids' lives, especially if they want to go to that next level, whether it be varsity or just varsity or college or even the NFL. I feel like I can at least help them with the, talking to coaches or, what they're going through varsity wise or how they can start on their own varsity team, all that stuff. And then I help out at the church, at my church. It's a very family church, if you will. There's only really about 3 families that go there, plus little families in between.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just something that you just kind of do at that point by nature. Hey, can you come help at the church? We're gonna cook for everybody, of course. And just stuff like that.
Great. Hey, last question here, and then we'll close out. Let's say you have a great 3 or 4 years in college, and you are invited to the NFL draft, and you're waiting for the commissioner to call your name. Who is sitting at your table waiting for your name to be called?
All right, so my mom, my dad, right? Coach Stephon Johnson, Chance Smith. He's a longtime friend of mine. I've known him since I was 6. And then probably my uncle, my grandfather, and my grandma.
All right, got a list all made up. That's great. Well, Trenton, man, I think you have definitely opened a lot of eyes when coaches watch this video. I'm excited for your senior year with you at Splendora. I got a lot of friends up that way. I'm excited for your new position change and seeing you make plays from the DN, from your hand on the ground. Continue to be safe. Have a great summer, and we'll see you during the upcoming season.
All right, Coach. You as well.
All right, thanks. Thanks, Trenton.
Thank you, Coach.